Hello, welcome to this video. At this point now, I've made it through my first semester at MIT, taking MIT classes, and obviously this term is different, but regardless, I just wanted to make like a very informational video about the classes I took this semester, what they're like. Obviously, I can't really compare it to how they normally are, but yeah, I can just give a quick rundown. Okay, so as a broad overview, this semester I took 4 like full unit classes. Like MIT does units, which I'm not really sure how those work. But yeah, I took like 4 like full classes, and then I took 1 discovery class about COVID, and then I had an advising seminar. So I guess in total that's technically 6 classes, but like only 4 had like the full workload of classes. A lot of my classes were on Canvas, which was like nice because there's like one place to get most things. But then some of my classes used this outside platform that I think MIT developed called MITx. Like they would have quizzes on there, or they would have other content on there. And then one of my classes, my programming class, had its own website that they built and that they used. I guess so they can have like more functionality and control over it, but it's like you could submit code up there or download code from there. Also, a big thing about this semester is that my grades are all on pass no record. So I either pass the class, or if I fail the class, I get like no record, which means it like will never show up on my transcript. I just basically never took the class. Internally, we still do get like actual grades. So even if you passed on like our internal transcript, you'll see like A, B, C, like whatever you actually got. And you will be able to see like failing for a class that like you know record, but like no one on the outside will ever see that. So I mean, this is obviously to like help us adjust to MIT classes and stuff. And it also means that like any pass is a pass, right? So like there's no need to stay up super late into the night working on homework or anything. So first class I'm going to talk about is 1802, also known as Calculus 2 or Multivariable Calc. It's just like double integrals, triple integrals, that kind of stuff. What the class looked like this semester were like we would have pre-recorded lectures to watch on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays, and during like the normal lecture time, the instructor would have like a live Q&A session. And then on Mondays and Wednesdays, we had live synchronous recitations. Where it's just you and like 12, 13 other students and the TA, and you guys solve problems together. We had weekly problem sets, which is just like homework, and then quizzes almost weekly. And then we had like 3 midterms. So like the term midterms is not correct. But anyways, in the beginning of the school year, of course, I tried to like watch the lecture videos on the days that like on their respective days in the morning. And then go to Q&A. But then as the semester went on, I just found out that like other work had bigger priority for me. So I ended up pushing that back, and then I do P-sets on like Wednesday night, and then I found someone to do them with, and then who did work before I did. So then I started doing them on Monday night. In general, this class was fine. I think it's one of the ones I enjoy because our instructor is like one of those like quirky kind of fun professors. Like he would do dances at the end of every lecture video, and he was like cutting chocolate and eggplants and onions to like demonstrate things for us. And it's just like you could tell he cared a lot, and he was like really wholesome and he was sweet. I didn't find any work ever too challenging. Oh yeah, recitation attendance gave you like fat extra credit, like 10 points on the exams. So in general, I had a good time. I can't really speak too much to it because this is a class that like everyone has to take, so it wasn't like super special, and I'm not planning to major in math at MIT. So yeah, I had a good time in this class. Okay, so on to class number 2, 802, also known as Physics 2, basically physics, E&M, electricity, and magnetism, kind of like AP Physics C. So this is another class that's like required. All MIT undergraduates had to take it or have credit for it at some point. Logistics-wise, this class had mandatory live lectures on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. This was also the class that I accidentally like slept through entirely at one point, but was also late several times too. Just because it was like in the morning, and I am not a morning person. So this class also had like weekly problem sets, homeworks to do that were due like Wednesday or so. And they also had these things called learning sequences, where it's basically a series of like videos and problems to do on a website that were due like Monday morning or Wednesday morning. And like I honestly didn't really like the fact that some were due Monday morning because they would release those like late in the week. So I'd basically like have to spend my weekend doing physics problems, which is not like my activity of choice. But anyways, so I am not very good at physics. I took AP Physics C, but I was not good at it. I'm not conceptually good at physics. So like a big factor in like what helped me get through this class and like still understand material and stuff were obviously like the core staff. The core staff are honestly really nice, and they're like pretty supportive and they're very understanding. But this class I also did form a PSET group for because I just like would not be able to do the homework on my own. So I formed a group for that, and luckily the group actually ended up working out really well. So every Sunday night we would work on the PSET and just get it done that Sunday night. That's kind of like how I dealt with homework and stuff. I mean, learning sequences, you kind of just do them on your own time. This class also did have some experiments later in the semester, and that was pretty nice. So like during the live lecture session, we would just do experiments together instead of like going through slides or like working on group problems. And this class also did have like that flipped classroom setup where it's like you learn most of the content through the learning sequences that you're supposed to do like on your own time. And then live sessions are just to review those concepts or do practice problems on those concepts. I think I personally like don't really prefer that flipped classroom setup, but that's also just kind of like how all my classes were. Like you just like look at the material and content on your own time and then review it or like do problems on it during the actual class sessions. I don't know, I just kind of had to deal with it. But 802 in general, I thought it was okay. I don't really like physics that much. I struggle with it, but I thought this class was fine. The teaching staff were, as I said, like really supportive, and they were like kind of fun too. And I had a good group to work with for PSETs and stuff, so I was honestly like not struggling too much. I also thought this class was like okay. Okay, so now class number 3, 6009, but I will call it Boog because the numbers kind of look like the letters Boog. This class is called Fundamentals of Programming, but it is absolutely not the introductory coding class at MIT. I actually like took an exam and got credit for that. Okay, logistics wise, this class had pre-recorded lecture videos as well, about like one every week. They'd be released on Sunday or Monday. And then this class had called its homework like labs. So you had weekly labs due like Friday afternoon. There are also live recitation sessions where attendance was mandatory on Wednesday afternoons. And that was about like the whole structure of the class. This class honestly caused me the most pain this semester. It was at times the bane of my existence. I think with the material is relatively challenging. Like a lot of people with a lot of different skill levels take this class. And so for a lot of people who have like maybe like done competitive programming, like they've seen algorithms before, they've seen this like graph searching or whatever. And so like those people have already seen it before, so they've kind of already done it before. So this is like not super new to them. But otherwise this class most definitely feels like just kind of like throwing you into the water. Just like, okay, so, you know, all these big famous algorithms that are really powerful, you're just gonna like do them and then learn it that way. Learning by doing is honestly pretty effective, but with the way this class was, the like difficulty just like quickly like accelerated. Honestly, a lot of my time throughout the week was spent working on Boog labs. Like I would have to grind like several hours over several days to finish those labs. And of course they had like office hours and stuff, but I don't know, I didn't like them because it was like an online queue system where you like get in the queue and it'll tell you your position in the queue, and then, you know, once you're at position 0, someone can get on a quick video call and help you. So they had office hours pretty much every day of the week. It was like 3 hours in the evening, but like the class is hard. So a lot of people, including myself, need like a lot of help. And in addition, they have these things called checkoffs, where after you turn your lab in, all the code's like working, or like you've gotten it to work the most that you can. They also make you go talk to a TA, and they ask you questions about your code, and you explain it to them to, I don't know, make sure you actually know what your code is doing and that you didn't just steal someone's code, I guess. You just straight up had a lot of people needing help, and a lot of people needing to do those check-off conversations once they've turned in a lab. And so that just meant that office hour queue positions could go up to like the high 90s. Like, I know one time I joined like right when office hours opened, and I was already at like position 70 or something. I saw someone was at like 92. Yeah, it basically kind of meant that like maximum you'd be able to talk to a TA like twice within that like span of 3 office hours, which is kind of not it. And they also had like a pretty strict collaboration policy this semester, so I did not have like a very good time in this class because like it was hard, and like with the way the class was set up, it just kind of felt like you were supposed to mostly struggle on your own. But I will definitely say that I learned the most in this class. Like, it's very fast-paced. You get put through a lot really quickly, but you also do learn a lot. But yeah, probably my least favorite class this semester, but that's how it is. Okay, so class number 4, I'm almost done. This one, 2406, basically bioethics. LIT makes us take like a humanities class pretty much like one every semester at the least. So we're not like STEM nerds who can't do anything other than STEM. But this semester I chose to take bioethics. Structure-wise, they had about like 2 pre-recorded lecture videos for us to watch each week. And then they gave us like several papers to do as reading for the week. They had like a live Q&A session on Wednesday. You could come ask questions to the professors. And then there was like a mandatory attendance recitation session on Friday, where you would like get together and like discuss the readings or discuss the lectures or anything else each week. Bioethics, I thought it was honestly pretty interesting. Like you talk about a lot of issues, and like no matter where your stance was at the start, you like learn information, or you're forced to kind of like defend it or argue against it. So like either way, your intuitions are kind of challenged, which I thought was really interesting. Throughout the entire semester, we had about like 4 different papers to do that were like due at different times, and they like progressively got longer. But overall, I thought it was okay. I honestly wish that I had dedicated more time to this class. Honestly, part of it is I just felt the amount of material that they gave us was kind of a lot. So we had like 2 videos each week to watch, right? They were like about like 30 to 40 minutes long each, which is not bad. But then the papers that they gave us, like some weeks they would give us like, oh, maybe just like 2 papers to read. Other weeks it'd be like up to 4. Other weeks it'd be like 4 papers with like a documentary and like a news article and blah, blah, blah. And each of those papers was like 20 to 30 pages long, which is apparently like normal for philosophy papers, but it's just something that I did not know before choosing the class. And then my other more technical classes started to get more challenging, so I just spent more time on those. And so most of the time, being perfectly honest here, I would go to recitation sections on Friday having like pretty much like not read the background papers. Like I would maybe, if I was lucky, have watched the lectures for that week. Yeah, I don't know. I just wasn't able to like keep up with reading all the background material and stuff, but I thought it was still a very interesting class overall. And it was definitely like not like impossible or super challenging to like write the essays that we had to do. Like you could definitely write the essays that we had to do without like having scrutinized like every single like background reading. I thought it was a pretty good time in the class. I don't know if I'll take another philosophy or history course though, but it definitely like got me thinking about stuff, and it was like a good break from just doing like STEM or technical stuff all day. Okay, so now I'm gonna talk about the first one of my 2 like non-serious classes, I guess. So I took this course this semester, 700. It's called like SARS-CoV-2, COVID-19, and the pandemic, I think. It's a course specially offered by MIT this semester because obviously we are in that pandemic. It was also a discovery course, which means it's a lot lighter in terms of workload. So basically, like every Tuesday morning, we would have a live lecture, and it'd be a guest. It'd be a really cool like guest who is like doing some work at the front lines of the pandemic. And then you just like go to that lecture, and then there's a weekly discussion post that you do. It's graded on participation. As long as you reach like 100 words and you do most of the discussion posts, like you pass the class. So that was like relatively like very light workload. So the reason I took this class was because I was like, I don't know, like I would like to know more about this pandemic and to like learn about it from like, you know, the top professionals and scientists and stuff sounds like a great idea. Like I was like, you know, being at MIT, this is like the kind of experience and like the connections that you can get from being at MIT, I guess. One week in September, we had Dr. Fauci come and give a guest lecture, so that was pretty cool. And I believe that was open to the public as well. Like all the lectures were open to the public. They were live streamed on MIT's website. So I mean, that was cool to just be able to hear from a lot of cool guest speakers and have like a relatively chill class. Alright, so the second one of my lighter classes, and the last class I'm going to talk about, because it's the last class I took, is actually my advising seminar. So for freshmen, we could sign up to have just a normal advisor, which you guys just meet one-on-one to talk about like classes or other official things. Or you could have an advising seminar. And I signed up for an advising seminar. You get an advisor, you can meet with your advisor and talk about anything you need, but you also basically have a weekly seminar where it's really chill. It's with the group of students who have the same advisor as you, and you just learn about something. So the one I signed up for is called Prosody. Basically, it's like the music of language. So we learn a bit about language, about like pitch accents, or like what pitches denote like what for speakers. We also learned a little bit about like gesturing, how pitches and gestures align with each other. I thought it was kind of cool because I was like, language is kind of cool. I also like do want to do brain and cognitive science at some point, and I can see how these sort of tie into each other. But that class was also very chill. I'm actually not sure if I have grades for that. I'm pretty sure I do. But it was like every Thursday afternoon we just get together, we talk about language, we talk about speaking, and yeah, it was pretty chill. So I mean, I also enjoyed that, but that was also probably the class that like I put the least effort in, just because we didn't have many outside assignments because our advisor didn't really want us to be like overloaded with more stuff than we already had, which I honestly do really appreciate. So to wrap up, I honestly can't really say anything as to like how these classes differ from how they're normally offered, but I think in general, all of my classes did a pretty good job adjusting virtually. There were definitely some that I felt were like could have taken student considerations into mind better than others, but overall, I think it was pretty good. Like after the first week, when like everyone was still trying to figure out how to like get on Canvas or whatever, it was pretty smooth after that. Obviously, it's like the community side or like the social aspects of college that are a lot more difficult virtually, but those have been okay for me as well. But yeah, so this video is just supposed to be informational about what classes I'm taking, how I found them, my honest experiences. But yeah, I hope this was informational, educational, and cool. Peace.